Hello everybody and welcome back. My name's Don Arleth and you're watching World Talks here on TVP World. Easter in Poland has shifted over the past generation from almost automatic family and parish rituals to a wider mix of personal spirituality, symbolic participation, and digital engagement, while the triduum and the communal symbols still hold strong. Joining me to discuss how the Catholic Church engages a younger generation is Michał Kłosowski from Wszystko Co Najważniejsze portal. Hello, thank you so much for joining us on World Talks.
Hello, and thanks for having me.
So we're talking about Easter and the younger generation and in church and in media. What do you think the main difference is between how young Catholics experience Easter today versus, say, a generation ago?
Well, Easter is always the same. Doesn't matter if you are young or old, senior, or like from young generation. You know, we do have here in Poland a lot of very particular traditions, historical ways of celebrating this very special moment in the year. But that's true. That's fact that, you know, younger generation is much more into, I would say, faith and spiritual way of living this time than the older generation, which is very much focused on the traditional way and kind of like a historical approach to this special moment of the year.
Do you think the church is embracing these changes between this younger generation and how they see the holidays and how to celebrate it versus that older generation?
Well, you know, in 2016, Pope Francis told us in Krakow during Worship Days that we need to build bridges between young and old generations. You know, it was a big prophetic, I would say, because Pope Francis was very much into this building bridges between different generations. And right now, Catholic Church, under the Cardinal Ryś and Cardinal Konrad Krajewski, is trying to, you know, to build this kind of bridges between generations. You know, you have a lot of let's call them events for example, homeless people, where those people who are in need are mostly older people, and who's serving them are young volunteers. So that's true that the church is trying to build kind of like a bridge between the generations, but it's still a bit difficult because, you know, even in Polish families, the polarization and the fragmentarization of those very simple and very very basic communities are very well seen. But the church is, yes, trying to build this kind of bridges, but it's very, very difficult because, you know, one part of the society is trying to, you know, to celebrate in a very traditional way with pisanki, etc., etc. And the other is trying to focus more on the spiritual aspects. It's not contradictory, but it's still not so easy to combine right now.
Do you think the younger generation is looking for more of a role model, somebody who does what he says and says what he does? As a better example, you mentioned, you know, volunteers, people that are doing charity work. As part of their, I guess, spirituality, if you will. Would you say that that's more or less the main difference between that classical kind of hierarchical sense that we've seen and probably the way you grew up or the way that I grew up?
Well, that's kind of a difficult thing to explain because, you know, even I'm also a PhD researcher in Rome, in one of the universities. And what we can observe in surveys, it's, yes, the young people are looking for someone to follow. And this person is Jesus Christ for most of the believers. But also, you know, after 10 months of papacy of Leo XIV, it's very well seen that a lot of young people are trying to follow the new pope. It's always like that. When Pope Francis became a pope, there was a Francis effect. Now we can see that there is Leo effect. A lot of people, very much young people, teenagers even, they are following the Pope on Instagram. They are watching some short videos with him, and they're very much interested in what is he talking about, because they can see that the word now is a little bit, shaky, and the Pope is still very very well seen person here in Poland. So basically, yes, young people are looking for people who they follow. But it's not only the Pope, but also Cardinal Ryś, who is very famous in Krakow, also Cardinal Krajewski, and some of the Polish bishops as well. Maybe they are not, as popular as John Paul II was, but still they are very much on the line with what young people are looking for right now. And there is not so big, contradiction. There is not so big difference between the way how young people and old people are trying to find during this time of the year. The most visible division, let's say, is the way how they treat tradition. That's very important, because for many people who grew up during, communist time, tradition and church, hierarchical church, it was the only way to feel and to live during this time. For young people who are free right now, they're very much, they're more open. It's a bit different, because they're looking a little bit deeper, for a little bit deeper spiritual meaning during this time.
You mentioned posts on Instagram. We've also seen, and I'm sorry, but I don't recall the name of this particular person, but basically a Catholic DJ doing disco shows for the most part. Quite spectacular. I mean, great laser lights. Yes, okay. So, how does this affect the younger generation? Are they taking on to things like this?
Well, it's Padre Guillermo. He's from Portugal, and he's very well known. And it's super funny, because I was in Lisbon 2023 during the warfare days back then, and it was super funny because there were crowds, possibly 2.5 million people, young people in Lisbon, and they were all following his music set, and it's also a way to share the message of Jesus Christ. The music is the way as well. So it's not about the person, the particular person, Padre Guillermo. It's also about the tools which can be used to reach younger generation. And to be honest, Catholic Church is very good in using this new technologies. AI, for example, there is Matthew Sanders, who built AI Magisterium. There is a lot of different Catholic entrepreneurs. Padre Guillermo as well, with those lasers, lights, etc., etc. They're using new tools of communication, technology, etc., to get people closer to Christ. Because when you see the priest being a DJ, scratching the discs, you can be a little bit shocked. But then you start to Google it, and then there is his biography. He's a priest. He's praying. He's preaching, etc., etc. So also, Instagram, new technology, even music, very contemporary music, is a way to bring people closer to the very, very simple message of Jesus Christ, which is love.
Yes, interesting to see how this all evolves. Moving on now, there's also, in Poland, we have a major demographic problem. I mean, more people died last year than have been born by far. How does shrinking demographics in Poland present a challenge for the church to engage with this younger generation?
Well, that's a very solid question. Thank you for asking this because, even Polish bishops, Polish hierarchy, they are looking for answers for this particular question. The demography has changed. We have a lot of people who came here, not only from Ukraine, from the places which are under the war, but also for those who see that Poland is a nice place to live right now. Me myself, I was living for 5 years in Rome, and it's normal that people are changing their places. Many people who came from Western Europe as well, people from French, Italians, Spaniards, they're also Catholics, Christians, and they are looking for service in their national languages. So, for example, in Warsaw, in Krakow, in Wrocław, in Gdańsk, now you can see and find a lot of, Catholic communities with particular national language. Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, English as well. Even in my parish here in Częstochowa, there is a mass every Sunday in English. In Warsaw as well, in many churches, you have masses in national languages. You have also priests who are coming from Africa to Poland. It's kind of like natural, but also. It doesn't matter that it doesn't matter in the way that it's not like declining of number of Catholics. A lot of those people are Catholics, are looking for the service. So basically, I think it's not a problem. It's a particular possibility to open a little bit, not to be only Polish Catholic Church, but also to be as it is in one of the prayers, like apostolic and global common church.
And finally, to finish up here, we've got about a minute and a half left. If you could tell a priest or a bishop to change 3 easy things to attract more people, around Easter time, what would those 3 things be?
First of all, follow Christ. Then change your language. And last but not least, do not close the doors of the church. Because there's a lot of people who are looking for the service and for the help of priests. And I think that the only thing they need is an open door of the church.
Okay, very good messages those are. Michał Kłosowski, Deputy Editor-in-Chief at Wszystko Co Najważniejsze. I know I messed that up at the beginning. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And have a good time. Cheers.
And that concludes this edition of World Talks. Thanks for joining us, and stay with us for more here on TVP World.